So yeah, this is a video from a tag from the fabulous Gabi, the fragrantician. If you go check her out, and she tagged me in a video to scent the Bond girls. Struggled with it, I'm not gonna lie. They're a struggle, aren't they? Because looking back at them, it's just like, oh, what do you really do with it? Obviously Grace Jones was the one that stuck in my head, but I can't just do a video about Grace Jones's character, can I really? And even that is a little bit yeah. Anyway, so I decided to put my own little twist on it and go for Austin Powers, which obviously the same kind of issue, but it takes the mick out of that kind of thing. Again, I've said this before, love James Bond, absolutely love it. Love all the films, can watch all the films, but sometimes it's best not to think about them while you're watching them, isn't it, sometimes? So anyway, I've gone for Austin Powers girls, or whatever you want to call them. If we don't know what Austin Powers is, it's kind of a bit of a Mickey take by Mike Myers of James Bond. It's just as kind of grotesquely sexist and misogynist and over the top and a bit ridiculous, but obviously it's poking a bit more fun at that. And again, I don't think he means any kind of bitterness to James Bond. I think he's a big fan as well, so it's just that kind of, yeah, I don't need to explain it anymore, do I? Oh yeah, Austin Powers. So it's that, and there's 3 films, I think. And I'll pick one from each film. And obviously, I think my favourite characters are the 2 bad guys, which is Dr. Evil, who's obviously Bloomfelt, and he's just really funny, isn't he? And obviously, Frau Forbissima is it Klemp? Major Klemp, was she? Who's just a very aggressive, shouty woman. And yeah, anyway, I'll get into the video. The first film, it's Elizabeth Hurley. I always want to call her Patsy Kensit, but Elizabeth Hurley, kind of really big star of the 90s, wasn't she, really? And she's called Vanessa Kensington, and she's the daughter of, is it Mrs. Kensington? Who's kind of, I suppose, like a Moneypenny kind of character. Anyway, Austin Powers is frozen, cryogenically frozen, and then wakes up in the 90s. And obviously he's got his kind of 60s attitudes on him, let's put it that way. And it takes him quite a while to kind of court Vanessa. And she's kind of, because she is an agent, she's kind of quite smart. Obviously you can guess from her name, she's quite a typical, stereotypical English lady kind of thing. And he does his best to seduce her in his own way, and eventually he does. What she's most famous for in the films is the outfits, in particular that kind of, is it PVC, is it leather catsuit thing? And by the end of the film, she turns out to be a fembot trained by Dr. Evil. But anyway, what I've gone for her is really obvious. It couldn't be anything else, could it? And that's ombre leather, in kind of ode to the suits and the outfits. And again, I think it suits her because she's quite a sophisticated woman. She's quite 90s in her style. She's assertive, she knows her stuff. She's doesn't appreciate his kind of advances and stuff. And I think, is it Jenny Bond, his wife? Oh, Mrs. Bond anyway. I think it's Jenny Bond, isn't it? In the original old ones, is it the one he gets married in anyway? And that's who I think she's loosely based on, because again, she wasn't a really daft or anything. But yeah, it kind of suits that strong, forthright attitude. It's so kind of goes with the outfits, and it's just a very smooth, like shiny black brand new fresh leather fragrance with a little bit of the kind of jasmine running through it. It's a clean leather. It's a very approachable, nice, smart, sophisticated leather. So yeah, that's ombre leather for Vanessa Kensington. The next is Heather Graham plays her. It's Felicity Shagwell, who sticking with a very on the nose Bond name there, and she's as a character she's a lot more she's a lot more sexually active, let's say. A lot more. She uses her wiles for what she needs to in her job. There in the film, the spy who shagged me, which is where Austin Power goes back in time to the 60s, and after the death, obviously, he basically she's the first woman he turns down because he loses his mojo. Everything kind of fails. His assassination attempt on Dr. Evil, I think, fails. It's a while since I've watched these. But anyway, she's a lot more kind of confident sexually than Vanessa Kensington was. Kind of suits maybe Austin a bit more. Great character. Anyway, going along with that, what I've decided to go for her is probably predictable again, Black Opium. Because again, she exudes the confidence. It is a very sexy fragrance. It's quite sophisticated. She is quite sophisticated. She helps Austin get his mojo back. And I'm pretty sure if I lost my mojo, then Black Opium would be one of them that certainly gets it back. So yeah, I don't need to waffle on anymore. I can't remember what happens to her in the end.
He breaks his heart by shagging Fat Bastard.
But yes, anyway, that's for Felicity Shagwell, and that's YSL's Black Opium. This next one is from Goldmember, is it? And they go back to the 70s, and he kind of hooks up with his ex-girlfriend, FBI, was she? She's an agent anyway, and she's called Foxy Cleopatra, and is possibly the worst piece of acting you will ever see in any film ever made. Disclaimer, I'm not the biggest Beyonce fan in the world. She reminds me an awful lot in every single way of my ex. Well, one of my exes who looked a lot like her, but a shorter, angrier version of her. All the same faces and... Oh. Anyway, that's by the by. But Beyonce, quite frankly, is absolutely bloody terrible in this film. By the by, she's an agent. She wears shorts outfits. She kind of spits out some lines and Foxy Cleopatra quite a lot, and laughs and smiles for no apparent reason, like she's in some school play or something. Anyway, despite my dislike for her, it's really hard to kind of centre. But because of the associations I have with, not Foxy Cleopatra, but never mind, I do think the fragrance would suit her anyway, even though it's well before her time, is Mugler's Angel, which, as we all know, is that big first kind of gourmand kind of fragrance, isn't it? Dark patchouli, easy to wear, isn't it, really? Well, it is now, sorry, but back in the day it was super strong. It's kind of cozy, it's very unique. How do you describe Angel? You just got to sniff Angel. Like we know, it's about the patchouli, isn't it, in that weird way that Mugler did it when they used to take risks and make interesting fragrances. Anyway, I need to say no more, don't want this to waffle on forever. So for Foxy Cleopatra is Mugler's Angel. So yeah, that's the end of the video. As you can see, I was grasping at straws a bit. Probably should have watched the films a bit more recently, but I pretty much remember. They're quite unforgettable, aren't they? Probably the least interesting characters from the films as well, sadly. But maybe one day I'll come back and do Austin Powers. I seem to be stuck. And yeah, that's it really. Hopefully it's done good. A little bit of credit to Gabi's tag. Sorry, Gabi, that it wasn't actual Bond girls, but they are kind of based on them, aren't they? What about you? How would you scent these three fine ladies? Or would you scent any of the Bond girls? Were you a big Austin Powers fan? Should definitely do a 4, shouldn't you? Although he'd be very old now. But yeah, alright, thanks folks, bye.